Let's see, are we ready? I've got something to drink. I've got something to pop on. I didn't really set up as the intro. I've got some rando chick, like, message bombing me again on WhatsApp. Like, I go through this, like, every week, every 2 weeks. There's another message. Like, these rando scammer people that like to drum up conversation, and I just sometimes just play along. I mean, they always seem genuine at first, like, oh, but then already she's like, "What's the name that shows isn't my real name; it's something else." And then, like, it probably says, it's this person specifically is supposed to be in Jacksonville, Florida. Like, we'll see where she says she is. And, like, I'm going to ask her that now. I'm going to say, "Where are you from?" And I guarantee you will not be Jacksonville, Florida. That's just kind of an aside. Like, it's funny. It's funny. But anyway, like, welcome to Evolutionary Theology. That's, the scammers have been a big part of my life recently because I guess I have a lot of internet, accessibility as far as my posts and videos and all that. So, my number's out there because I like to talk to people and communicate and kind of get a feel for society in a whole. Like, I'm reading Isaac Asimov's Prelude to Foundation right now at the same time that I'm reading Copernicus 2.0, and it's amazing how similar these books look. Like, is that not weird? Like, there's a message. That these books, like, Prelude to A Call to, Foundation, Reformation. Like, and they both have little star dots on them. Like, this one's, this one's a little more wavy, but this one's a more starry. But they're still kind of similar, and they both have this, like, gyroscope type thing down at the bottom of the book. Like, it's so crazy how I'm reading these two books at the same time. Excuse me. And anyway. Oh, my point was that Harry Seldon, the main character in this particular Foundation series, is trying to find a way to mathematically deduce the future with certain probabilistic factors inherent in the calculation. And so he's, doing research on history and all sorts of things, getting caught up in, like, all these little fun little adventure type things that, it's complete fiction. So, but he's trying to learn about society and reality in such a way that he can try to predict what's going to happen in the future. I think that's really, kind of sums up the way that I live, because I'm doing the same exact thing right here. Like, I guess if you don't see it yet, you need to go back and watch a few more of the videos. But anyway, one thing I wanted to show you before I got started on the main feature, which will be Copernicus 2.0, A Call to Reformation by David Tackle, a very important piece of work on the Protestant spiritual formation movement, which has been going on for the last, like, 30 or 40 years, and it's really, well, we'll discuss that. You have to watch and see. We'll discuss that. And so, excuse me, I just wanted to show you a bit of my where my website has been off to. Okay, let's go over to scene 2, window capture, and let's open up this. Make sure this is on the right. Okay, it's showing on my view. Okay, so definitely India, number 1. Okay, let's see, minimize that. Yeah, India, number 1 place. 992 page views. Okay. Philippines, 378 in the Philippines. Look how small that is compared to America, where there's only 37 page views. And these are people who have also returned to the site and watched the thing again. So, you know, the numbers are slightly lower, but about 3% of people do return to my website and read it again or continue to read it or whatever. But the most interesting thing here is South Korea has 215 views. Now, that one's recently growing. I wasn't, really receiving much from South Korea when I would talk about, if you've been a continued viewer, you've seen me pull up my map and stuff, and let's pull up the city map just for fun. It's fun to look at. It's just to visualize where all these views are coming from. Like it's amazing. Like I pay for it. I pay $2 a day, but I think that's more than well worth it. And really, in the end, like I'm trying to change the world really with what I believe, and I feel that it's a noble cause because of the research I've done, and so yeah, here's the map, like way over, like over here, like oh man, yeah, it really gets deep, like when you look at the different regions that are going, more apt to read my website or follow up on my ad that I have posted. So yeah, it's really interesting. But anyway, I digress, and we shall continue on into the bulk of evolutionary theology that it is today, given that, and we're back, that I have a book to talk about. And, there's going to be more books coming up. And we will most likely talk to either Chat GPT 3.5 or Hunter. Oh, speaking of which, let me not digress too early. Okay, it says let me read it first. Oh, so she's giving me her heritage, not necessarily a location. So that's interesting, and I'll continue the conversation, but it'll be good to follow up on and see like where this goes, like because I will take them on a roller coaster ride and figure out whether or not they're a scammer, and usually they are a scammer, liar, like bullshit, little lies, just like don't even have a soul. Like I don't care what people think about me or what they believe in their head because there's the filth of the earth compared to me. Who thinks like this? This is not normal behavior. And it's most of what I find on the internet. Like people faking profiles. It's ridiculous. Like, what is the point? Why don't you just be yourself? Be original. Be like Tommy. Be more like Tommy. Okay? All right. Thanks. And welcome to Evolutionary Theology. Hello, Tommy here. About to do another couple of meditation sessions. Uh, Post results afterwards. We're going to do a heartbeat first, heart meditation, 5 minutes, and then mind meditation for 15 minutes after that. And so I'll post each set of biofeedback results after I'm done with the meditation. So y'all, I'm pretty calm. My stillness was at a low level, but my heart rate was really high on this meditation. So I'm hoping that with the mindful meditation coming up, um, then my heart rate will come down and my mind will be less in the neutral zone and more in the calm zone, except when I start dreaming and it goes way up high. Yeah, that's funny. All right. The following results show that after a nice long meditation, I started getting hungry. Like a couple of points there where you see my stillness spikes up. I got hungry, and then finally at the end, I was just like, I'm so hungry, I have to eat right now. But my mind went way down into the calm level before coming back up after, deciding I was going to get something to eat. And what's the other? My heart rate, was lower than the first session I did, but still, and jumped up there at the end when I was like, oh my goodness, I'm hungry. But, with continued meditation, I could slow it down some more, and I may do that after I get something to eat. All right, see ya. So y'all have caught me at kind of a rare moment, ready to talk about the book, ready to dive into this episode of Evolutionary Theology. But I have, yet to take my pills for the evening, and it's 9:14. I generally take them around between 5 and 7. And they will be taken, mind you, but it just might be a moment. Sometimes I like to go on that little vacation for a moment's time, and that's all. But Copernicus 2.0, there's some very important things in here to talk about. And I've researched a couple of different articles as well, one from Dallas Willard and one from neurosciencenews.com that I'll reference. In relation to my overall theory, not necessarily just this book, but my overall theory of reality and how what I've really been learning, if you really want to know what I've really been learning, Snap. I'll probably post up my Snap thing later, so if you want to get onto that, you can send me a message or whatever, be my friend. But yes, some of the things as they come together. So we're talking about a reformation of, from not Christian roots, but from what Christian roots changed into, and what it was totally adulterated and wronged, like by the passing of time and kind of it's like law was interjected into everything that Christ had originally stood for, so that it was kind of put in such a way that it makes Christianity seem like it's not really as legit as it could be. Like with when you try and compare Christianity and the law, like you really you can't combine the two. And what society has done over the years is combine Christianity and law, and that's what this book is trying to say by Dave Tackle, that really when we take apart the main principles in the Bible and read them from the the Old or New Testament as they, originally should be, and take out the judicial factors that have been placed upon it by the detractors, really the detractors of Christianity, trying to play this judicial law on it. And it really causes it to make, less sense. But, the most important takeaway is that we're spiritual beings and we need spirituality in our lives. And to be a mature spiritual being, one must have a relationship with God. So when a person is an atheist, like they literally have no relationship with God. They might, commune with nature or whatever, but they don't regard that conscious aspect onto the environment that is obvious given the fundamentals of quantum mechanics. And what I wanted to get into next was this neurosciencenews.com article, which basically summarizes the fact that when you have teens engaging in transcendental thinking, thoughts, of a transcendental nature, it causes a spur in the growth of the brain and the connections between the goal-oriented motivations and the self-referential thoughts, as far as like, how does this affect me, and how does the overarching theme, come together as a reality in my life. Like, so when teens engage in this this thought process, it actually spurs and gives them a better sense of liking of their own life. And I just think that's so amazing. Like, the fact that, I've not only learned that through forming, Dave Tackle's formation class, that you can actually have a relationship with God and speak with Him on a one-on-one basis through a directed thought process. I guess you'd call it a meditation or focusing of thought energy. But one can have a direct interpersonal relationship with God, and that's the most important thing that we're going to come down to in this book. But the basic, I finished section 2. 1 was short, 2 was, kind of the same length as 3. Okay, so there's renovation and restoration. So what we need renovated are these things that are listed in the assessment. And we've already talked about love and forgiveness. In the last episode of Evolutionary Theology, we talked about love and forgiveness. But then it goes on to, talk more and more about atonement, gospel, grace, identity, and sanctification. And these things are all adulterated by the judicial mindset of materialists, I guess you'd say, because these things really, when you take them into account, and okay, to give further account, I'm having a meeting with the author of this book at the end of this week, and I want to talk more about this, and I'm going to try and invite him on to a future episode of Evolutionary Theology through a Discord video chat window sharing application. So we'll see if that comes to pass. If not, no big deal. But I still will get to talk to him over coffee. So that will give me an insight more so into the book. Like I'm at a loss for words because the when I looked up Protestant spiritual formation movement, which is what's referenced in the book, is what's going on now for the past 30 to almost, I guess, maybe 40 years now, is like the idea of having a personal relationship with God and the mindfulness aspect of religion and the meditation, but it's not necessarily the focus on that. It's suggesting that should be an aspect of one's Christian life. Just like David prayed, 3 times a day religiously. Even though he was told not to by the king. But I digress, and it's important that we seek God in reality, because it will show us the way of truth if we ask in full full-hearted and faithfulness. In even if we don't believe, we can say, help me to God, and just some people want to cry that out. I know it. I know it. I feel it. There's some people right now that just want to cry that out. Lord, help me, even though they have never had the desire to believe in God whatsoever. But if you just say that, life will change. When you live in the Spirit, that's different. Like, I go to church now, and people are like, God's telling me this, God's telling me that. Like, I'm in the right place, because that's what I want to hear. And they're good things, and they are true, and they come to pass, and they are reflections on the past that show God's presence in reality. So whether you believe in God or not is irrelevant of whether or not the fact that God exists, because he does. And we're shown that repeatedly through experiments in the quantum physics realm. So if you haven't heard that from me before, you shouldn't be surprised, because that's all I talk about. The particles. Why are you talking about the particles? You're crazy. You keep talking about particles. You're crazy. But we'll see. We'll see. Actually, yeah, we'll see. All right. Let's move on to the next segment. So we're back for the final segment of Evolutionary Theology. We'll be asking Chat GPT 3.5 a question, and I want to pose it in such a way that it's slightly diabolical and undermining of the system, and see if it may come to pass, if we get a decent answer. So, let's see. We see over here my previous conversations as I have logged in with a similar, the same. What are we going to ask Chat GPT 3.5? Okay, so what have we been talking about today? We've been talking about So having a relationship with God, the fact that teens, when they think about a transcendent type of thought processes that overarches, basic opportunity, just being in the moment, more than just being in the moment. When you think about more than just being in the moment, like what is the reason for all this? What can I learn from this? How can this change me as a person? Things of that nature. So, what can we ask the chat? Okay, let's see. In light of new information on the psychological benefits of spirituality. What do you think are the top reasons for here we go. The establishment being wait, where do we go up here? Okay. Establishment being what is the establishment? How is it being it's not, well it is. How do we word this? Establishment reasons for the establishments. Oops, what the heck? Establishment differing goals regarding a personal relationship with God. I like how the thunder's rolling behind me. That's in light of new information on the psychological benefits of spirituality, what do you think are the top reasons for the establishment's differing goals regarding personal relationship with God? Okay. All right. No, that's a good question. Like, let's. Okay. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Chat GPT 3.5. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Still printing. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Okay, and so I guess that okay. The establishment's goals regarding a personal relationship with God can vary for several reasons, influenced by factors such as historical context, cultural norms, theological beliefs, and individual interpretations. Here are some potential reasons for the differing goals. Doctrinal differences. Various religious traditions have distinct doctrines and teachings about the nature of God and how individuals should relate to the divine. These doctrinal variations can lead to differing goals in establishing a personal relationship with God. Culture and societal influences. Societal norms and cultural values can shape the goals of religious establishments. For example, in some cultures, religious institutions may prioritize communal worship and adherence to rituals over individual spiritual experiences. Power dynamics. Religious establishments may have vested interests in maintaining authority and control over their followers. Goals related to personal relationships with God may be influenced by the desire to reinforce hierarchical structures within the organization. Interpretation of scriptures. Different interpretation of religious texts can lead to divergent understandings of the nature of God and the appropriate way to cultivate a personal relationship with the divine. This can result in varying emphases on practices such as prayer, meditation, or religious rituals. Historical context. Historical events and movements within religious traditions can shape the goals of religious establishments. For example, periods of religious reform or revival may emphasize personal spiritual experiences, while other eras may prioritize orthodoxy and adherence to established doctrines. Evolution of beliefs. Over time, religious beliefs and practices can evolve in response to changing social, cultural, and intellectual contexts. Differing religious establishments may have varying perspectives on the importance of personal spirituality within the broader framework of their tradition. Individual preferences and needs. People have diverse spiritual needs and preferences, leading to a range of goals in their personal relationship with God. Religious establishments may seek to accommodate these differences while also promoting their own theological perspectives. Integration with other areas of life. Goals related to personal spirituality may be influenced by how religious establishments view the integration of faith with other aspects of life, such as ethics, social justice, and personal well-being. Overall, the establishment's goals regarding a personal relationship with God are multifaceted and shaped by a complex interplay of theological, cultural, and social factors. Well, thank you, Chat GPT 3.5. We really appreciate your knowledge, and though it be somewhat woke, it doesn't really regard the fact that the relationship with God is the most important factor of our life and how we might become a mature life experiencer, as it would be. Let me get back to my screen. There we go. All right, and we're back. And isn't that a beautiful fish tank? Like, my roommate really takes well good care of that. I'm proud to show it. And the bird, Lady Jane, that's never laid an egg in her life, is very happy. And I'd like to say that the cat just took a poop right over there. I figured I'd turn the lights down low for this last little bit. Let's all take a moment, breathe out, and breathe in. Breathe in. Breathe out. Yes, we've had a great episode. This journey of evolutionary theology that we've been on for this half-hour, 40-minute jaunt. And I think it's high time I took my medication. It is the next day, so I've taken a couple of doses already, but it is about that time coming up on the next day because it's been a 2-day broadcast, video, whatever. So, just to prove that I do take medication and I believe what I believe, regardless of my medication status. That quantum physics basically dictates how we should perceive society, reality, not society, but reality. Society is the human relationships we have within the reality, which is in the quantum world. Okay, so maybe I should go ahead and take my medication for the evening. Let's see, we've got, first things first, risperidone, antipsychotic. Fluoxetine, generic for Prozac. Anti-traumatic antidepressant. And the dual-action antihistamine anti-anxiety pill, which is hydroxyzine, also known as Vistaril. So, what do you think about all this? Are you going to comment on my video? In a comment, like, share, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. I guess I need to put in the notes or the, final screens my social media information, so I guess I'll do that now. And just thank you for joining me. If you made it this far, I'm really happy that you've enjoyed the show and you haven't thrown anything at the TV yet. But thank you for joining me and wanting to learn about how to understand reality. We'll see you next time on Evolutionary Theology.